Okay, let's go, guys. Ready? Yeah.
Ruud, we're coming in shortly.
Please.
Don't worry.
Okay,
We've
thanks.
got it all sorted out here. All under control.
Kill them all.
Okay. The Edge is just sorting out his shoes. Okay.
Really?
Okay. We're coming in to act really natural.
Acting very natural. Very natural. Here we are.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Hey, dude.
Very good.
How are you?
How do you think the walk was? You want me to do it again?
Yeah, no,
that was
fine.
good.
I'm happy to do it
again.
again.
I'm impressed.
I think we should. No, you stay. I'll do one again. Oh, hold on. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to walk in as a tall person.
Okay, cool.
You know, because I've learned this. It's a trick. You have to catch me now. It's a very subtle action.
He's good at this. He's very good at this.
Ruud. Yeah. Okay.
Come on, MB. Yeah, that's very good.
How you doing, Ruud?
It's good.
Yeah.
May I fight you?
Where would you like us?
Did you catch that? I thought it was impressive.
How's it going?
It's going great.
You just came in?
Yeah, we're
We had a spectacular
busy boys.
reception. Yeah. We got off our plane. Paul McCartney was waiting to meet us. Not exactly, but he was 30 minutes up the road playing, and I'd never seen Paul McCartney play live.
It was one of the quickest decisions I've made in the last couple of years was when somebody asked me, would you like to come see Paul McCartney? He's half an hour from the plane.
Can I tell you something that he did call Edge? He went, Edgy! And of all the years, we've never called you Edgy.
Is this true?
Edgy,
I mean,
right?
no one has ever, it's a brand new. His
my
mother
new
used to
thing.
call him The Edge.
And then you were annoyed or not? No, edgy. Paulie.
Paulie. Yeah, no, it's cool. That's the way we get on, Paul and me, you know.
I would carry his
Yeah.
luggage. to be
Congratulations
honest with you. Carry
with
his guitar case.
With the new album.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I've already had the pleasure to hear the songs, and I'm impressed because it's bringing me everywhere, from pop songs to rock songs to rough songs to poetry, rough metal by heart.
I think on this album we did want to go everywhere, but you're the first person who said it.
Just to be honest, or to be...
To be everywhere is a great phrase.
Okay, to be everywhere.
That's what you, I think
So
that's what
every
you
album
said.
has a location. That's what I heard years ago. Which location does this album have?
I think, well, this is part of a two-record set, Songs of Innocence, and this is Songs of Experience. I think Songs of Innocence was a kind of journey to the past. So it was located in where you two started out. It was very narrative-based. You know, what were the things that caused us to be in a band? What were the things that drove us to succeed? This is...
To
I
get
guess,
there.
Yeah, this is now having got to the place that we're in as a band, you know, in 2017, being a band for over 30 years. What are the insights? So it's in some ways the location is kind of internal to try and, well, share some of the things that we've learned over the years.
It's a dialogue thing.
Yeah, I mean, Bono is the lyric writer on this album. I have occasionally helped in the past, but this is Bono, and as you describe, it's a series of letters, a series of messages to different people.
Letters.
Letters.
He followed the advice of Irish poet Brendan Kelly.
Canally.
Sorry. To write as if you were dead.
I mean, I think what he was saying to us as a writer is we occasionally would get a little too self-conscious about things we want to say, thinking about, are we going to offend people? Are people going to misunderstand? Is this sort of politically incorrect? Or lots of things that might interrupt your artistic instinct. And he was basically saying, look, that is death.
Well, Brendan Kennelly, this great poet, Irishman, said was just don't think about, just say what you have to say.
Yeah.
Imagine you're dead. And what happened was, you know, that subject drops on your lap anyway at some point. You know, you somebody close to you passes away or whatever it is, you know.
But
David Bowie, we lost David Bowie, we lost Leonard Cohen, who was a friend.
We lost a lot of people.
And it just seemed to be the subject. And so I went for it.
But you're not that old, you're not sick, you're look more healthy than ever. So, but
Thank
3
you.
weeks ago, you told me in my radio show, I have some bumps in my mortality.
Yeah. I've had you know, they get warning signs.
Yeah.
You know, I think that sort of happened to me in my life a bit, where I had to make some changes about the way I was living my life and or else I mightn't be around. So I wrote these lyrics as if I wasn't around. What would I have to say for myself? So for our kids, you know, I wrote the lyric, love is bigger than anything in its way. So if you just have to remember one phrase from your father, it's love is bigger than anything in its way. So anyway, it was just one of those things where, what is the point in making a U2 album if you don't pour your whole life into it? And imagine that you may never have anything more to say. As it happens, I think we will have a lot more to say. And I was a kid, age 14, staring out my window and, you know, listening to John Lennon or listening to whoever it was, Bob Dylan, tell me, you know, the world doesn't have to be the way the world is and you can do something about it. And that kid had to grow up. And I think I'm on my way. It's taken me a while to grow up. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to write about that, the difference between innocence and experience.
But is it possible to retain a part of your youthful innocence when you grow up?
I think you have to, because I think there's a thing which is adultism, which is a kind of dumbing down of all of your kind of enthusiasm and your belief, your optimism, and that has to be resisted at all costs. It's like, that's death, particularly for an artist. So you have to have a kind of dual identity, which is partly still a kid, but then tempered with the experience that we have at this point.
Is that inside a conversation or war? What is it?
I think it's the spirit. I think it's the decision. We talk about defiant joy, and I think that's the job of the artist, is to not allow experiences to diminish your enthusiasm and your optimism and your belief. That's what we had as 18-year-olds, and I think in many ways that has not changed. It's just we're a little bit smarter in terms of understanding the context of
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah, but what's the difference between innocence and naivety?
If you're talking about innocence, you've probably already lost it.
Uh-huh.
Just knowing what it is. But it is possible to go back to that second naivety through wisdom. At the far end of experience, it is possible to reach innocence. I think a different kind. And for me, as a person who's used to thinking that I could break open any closed door with my shoulder, I've now learned that sometimes you just turn the, you know, you just actually just open the door. And it's not us versus them, you know, that you grow up thinking it's us against the world. We're in a band and it's us against the world. And then you realize that the biggest obstacle in the way of yourself, sometimes yourself. That's what experience teaches you. That's probably the biggest opponent in the way of your fulfilling your potential. And when you see that, it's a shock. Now, for some people out in fighting poverty, that's not true. But in our world, it is true, and especially if you've talent. And then you start picking much more interesting fights.
It's about letters to partners, children, fans, to America, one to yourself.
I wasn't expecting to write that one.
No?
No. Some of these songs were started, you're not even knowing where they're going, you know, and then they start to cohere.
They write themselves in a funny way.
Okay.
Yeah, the little things that give you away. I was writing about deceit, and I was writing it as a sort of dialogue between innocence and experience. Sounds a bit heady, but it's not really. And it goes...
Is it Paul versus Bono?
Yes, could be. So, because I saw you on the stairs, you didn't notice I was there. That's because you were talking at me and not to me. You were high above the storm, a hurricane being born. But this freedom, it might cost you your liberty. And so the innocence is questioning the person you've become. And then at the very end of the song, it breaks down. This machismo of the experience, the man of the world, breaks down and explains that he's afraid, and that there's fear in his life.
Why this very public form of writing letters?
I think that's what an artist always does. You know, John Lennon said, you know, writing a song is about sitting down with your guitar and opening a vein, because if it doesn't come from somewhere very deep and personal, it won't have any weight, you know? No one wants to hear songs, you know, that don't mean a lot to the artist that's singing.
Why would you want to do it is a better question.
As a fan, it makes me afraid. It scares me.
Right.
Because I'm waiting for the press conference, and when you say, okay, done.
Well, no, I think I think that we have a reason to go on. We have as a band, we're just coming into something. And it's strange that writing this album as if it's your last might actually be the door to which a whole other chapter emerges, which is a nice idea. I'm thinking it's about time for our heyday. What do you think?
I mean, there's humour involved in that statement, but there's actual truth to it too. We, as a band, are very slow learners in some ways. We're a better band in some ways than we were as 25-year-olds when we made Joshua Tree. The context is different for us, unfortunately. You know, you can't make your first album ever again, or your first big album. It's that thing. But the songwriting can certainly get better, and the more I'm around, the more I realize that the quality of the songs is really the measure of your legacy, you know. And if they, you know, you might persuade yourselves that it's all about the quality of the endeavor and the quality of the intention, but actually it's what do you have to show for it in terms of tunes and songs. And I'm very proud of these songs, so I think we may well have got to a new level.
So this might be the first real U2 sound of your youth? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's funny. Noel Gallagher said, he says, I get it. He says, your last album, Songs of Innocence, was really Songs of Experience. And this is your Songs of Innocence.
Yeah.
Because you sound like you're 18. But I think that's...
It's all about the beginning and start things and learn things.
Well, that's what... If experience teaches you anything, it teaches you not to be robbed of the moment you're in. And that fun and frolics and never to be robbed of your joy. And that's the great rock. The great music has joy, you know, whether it's the Beatles or the Who or the Sex Pistols, or you feel it. And so rock and roll has that to offer, that joy. And so I think you feel that in this collection of songs. It's not melancholy. It's not a load of Irish people crying into the beer, oh, fuck, we nearly died.
That's like nothing worse. I think Oscar Wilde said it beautifully once. He said, you know, we're all lying in the gutter, but some of us are staring up at the stars. It's really about a decision. It's about an attitude, and not to give in to the circumstances you're in, but to maintain that positivity and that belief.
Staying tough.
Yeah.